Hey guys, cool. So at midnight tonight on the 26th, we will be at a complete shutdown. So yeah, I'm just getting stuff together that I can, to keep myself entertained for the next 21 days. I've got a pellet gun that I inherited from my father. I mean, if this thing could talk, it will tell some incredible stories. I'm no gunsmith, so I'm definitely going to try my best. I'm not going to do too much, just give it a nice polish, nice clean, redo the stock, because there's one or two cracks in it, so just do a little minor repairs. But I'm gonna let you guys join in on this, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you guys about the impact that COVID-19's had on the hunting industry, and what we can look forward to in 2020. Some of the stats that over the past year that we can get into and discuss, just all for interest's sake. And yeah, I'm just going to take you guys along with the ride. But if you haven't yet, I'd appreciate it if you guys hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and if you really enjoyed this episode, drop a thumbs up. This all goes towards my end goal, so every little bit counts. So for those of you that have done that, I really appreciate it and thank you so much. Just got to give a big shout out once again to Trees and Camo. I used the early season and late season down in the Cisco when we did the hippo hunt, and it's fantastic. Really, really incredible camo. I used some of the shirts and the caps, and they were lightweight. So the moisture doesn't stick to your body, so your shirts aren't sticking to your body. It's really easy to maneuver around in, and I was really impressed with them to be honest. Acacia bush are really devil-like looking, so they can really put a toll into your clothing, but trees and held out pretty well. So I'm really excited for the season once it gets going after all these hiccups. But yeah, so I'm really excited. So big shout out to Trees and Camo. Then next, obviously, Maxxis tires. Guys, I can't thank this brand enough, especially for the tires that I'm using at the moment. It's the Razors Mud Terrains. It's 3-ply sidewall. Used them in the Cisco. We went over a section where it was really jaggedy rocked, so really sharp rocks and stuff, and they really hold out well. Normally, like I said, I did this hunt 2 years ago with a different set of tires, and we were slipping all over the show. Maxxis held its grip, and we just crawled out of there. So I was really impressed with them, and I can't thank them enough. So yeah, guys, it's lockdown, so I can't say happy hunting, but I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys now. Cheers.
When a hunter has done what he considers to be his or her duty to the animals we fight so hard to protect, they will leave a legacy that will last a lifetime.
Hey guys, well, welcome to the first episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a whole playlist. We'll call it the lockdown playlist, where I'll just be, like I said, I'm going to be refurbishing this nice, beautiful little pellet gun I got from my father. I think I spelled this Gacada, number 25 model. Yeah, so basically I'll just be running through a few things that I've encountered out in the field, what we can look forward to in 2020, and just basically having a conversation with you guys, pretty much like I did on my podcasting. So I'll put this in my podcast platform as well. But yeah, I'm just, every day that lockdown is going to happen, I can't help but think the impact it, on everyone's economy, on everyone's workforce and everything that it's had. And I can't help but think that if these guys get their way with the hunting industry and shut down all the trophy hunting, all the lion hunting and the rhino hunting like they want to do, this is pretty much the impact it's going to have on the hunting industry, and thousands upon thousands of jobs are going to get lost. And actually in 2017, the agricultural sector, which hunting falls under, was one of the largest, growing on a downward economy, was one of the largest segments that was actually growing as far as an employment side goes. So there's so many jobs out there, and if they get their way, I know it's not on this scale, and this is far beyond anyone's they can imagine this, as far as the world economy and South Africa's economy is concerned. But as far as the hunting industry, this is pretty much what we will be feeling like if they did get their way. And I mean guys that are anti-hunters, against it, don't see the conservation side of things, and pretty much like I've been telling you guys throughout my whole YouTube podcast journey, is that this is the side of hunting I really want to communicate and get out there, and hopefully it's alright. Hopefully we can convince a few people. Guys, so basically what hunting means to me is, I'm going to struggle to put this into words, but I pulled out these old photos of my first animal, and it goes back to what happened and what got me going on this whole hunting journey. So it was my 13th birthday, the 30th of June, and I'll never forget it, because my dad came back from work the one day and he decided, I think it was a spur of the moment type thing, but he decided that my uncle had just bought a farm. Well, I think he had it for a couple of years, but he recently just stocked it with game, and it was called Volksgesberg at the time. And I think just we were invited to go out there and try my luck in hunting an animal, and that's where my whole love for this whole thing started. Was not from just shooting and getting the animal down and in the cooler room and having the biltong afterwards. It wasn't. It was a story I get to tell and translate throughout my career. And like I said in one of my episodes, is every time I wake up in the morning and I lace up my boots, I can't help but think about the routine I went through in shooting my first animal. And this is me over here, 13 years old. It was a blessed buck. Not the greatest photo, but a lot's changed since this picture. I mean, I can see in the background there my uncle's house, the old barn, the skinning facilities where this photo was taken. A lot has changed since this photo. But so basically how it happened was, we arrived at the farm. It wasn't extremely early morning. It was probably just after lunch, and went to the range, pulled off a few shots into the targets, and we were A4 away. And at the time there were no half fences. It wasn't an established game farm at the time, because the process was coming, but there was a cattle fence. We had to climb through the cattle fence, walk through one of the ditches, and we came up to this beautiful covering, thick covering. We managed to walk through, get to the end of the covering, and then I placed my rifle down, but the nerves just took over and I just started shaking. I couldn't control it, and as much as my uncle and my dad were telling me, just relax, squeeze the trigger, running through the whole thing, buck fever just got the best of me, and for some reason I put my foot on the fence, and that must have caught their attention and spooked them off. Anyway, after sitting down and discussing the next game plan of what our next planning is going to be, straight across from us, probably about 300 yards, there was a nice little clump of trees, and we decided that's where we needed to be, because the blessback at the time, they would circle around that clump of trees and go and stand on that side, and then move on from there. So we managed to get there, and at this point it's just me and my dad. My uncle had walked further down to try and deter them from going further down in the field to get to this clump of trees. And my idea already by walking up there was, I'm going to put the rifle down and shoot. I'm not going to give myself a chance to think about it, because the more I thought about it, the more I just started shaking. And we got there, and by this stage my uncle had rejoined us. And as we got there, we picked out the ram in the herd. You could see him, he was dancing around the back. Picked him out. He stood broadside, probably at about 180 yards. I put the rifle on the tree, and I pulled the trigger, and it was a perfect shot. So that's him. And then obviously our traditions in South Africa, it's my first animal. I had to eat the liver, so that's another one of the photos. And then yeah, like I said, the skinning facilities are not what they were now. Back then we had to pull the carcass up with a bit of wire in one of the A-frame roof trusses, and we hung the carcass and we bled him out from the throat. And normally normal people just dip their fingers in a pool of blood and smear it on your face, but not my uncle. We always go a little bit overboard. So you got a complete tray full of blood, and this was the result. So yeah, probably one of my fondest memories, and it's something that will, stay in my life, and the story I'll tell for many years to come. And still to this day, I can't describe how privileged I feel to having my old man with me, my uncle, two of the people that I really respect and I've looked up to in my life and going through life. And I'm ever so grateful for sharing those moments, and that's the whole point of, and that's where the love for the hunting came. Is not only have I done this myself, I've seen so many families in the past 11 years that I've been doing this. I've seen so many families witnessing and experiencing the same thing that I did on this day, and it gives me so much joy. And I can't describe to many people the feeling I get every time I do this sort of thing, but it's in my blood and it's in my nature, and it's a passion of mine, and I really enjoy it. And like I've been telling people over the past couple of weeks, I've had a huge career change. I'm focusing completely now on the hunting side, so it is difficult to stay positive, but once you get out into the field, that all changes. Everything is just, your whole reason why you're there, it's just so clear. So yeah, that's my story, and that's what got me into this whole thing. I'm dipping these bolts and a few of the metal pieces in a bit of thinners. I'm gonna let them soak in there a little bit because they had a bit of grease on them. I just want to clean them up quite nicely, and I'll give them a good nice little polish and make sure that they've soaked well. Yeah, guys, so and that's what it boils down to. People need to understand how important hunting is, not only for personal income, but for our economy. It's extremely important, and as South Africans, we've developed it as part of our culture, and our I think culture is the right word for it. But unfortunately, the hunting industry has grown so big over the years that it can't just sustain itself from South African hunters. We need the foreign investment. With the exchange rate as it is now, we need the guys coming from Europe. We need the guys coming from the States, and every little bit helps. And with that foreign currency coming through the doors, it really and truly helps a lot. I started hunting with my tracker. I met him on the farm around about 2012, and his name's Courtman, and ever since then we've been hunting together, and I can't tell you how much I've learned from him, and I can't tell you how much of an impact hunting has on his family. He gets to put his kids through school, and decent education, not just the ones you see on National Geographic where kids are sitting outside with books and stuff. It's decent education. He gets to clothe them, and he gets to put food on the table. And for me, his quality of life has increased dramatically because of the amount of hunts that we've started doing together. And I'm ever so grateful for that, because it's guys like him. He's an extremely good guy. He's solid. He's never let me down out in the bush. He really is just such a trustworthy guy, and I've got so much respect for him. So I get happy when he can provide like I can for my family. He can do the same for his, and yeah, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. So guys, I'm going to keep these episodes nice, short and sweet, because obviously there's quite a bit of work to do here. The little one's sleeping, so I've probably got about an hour and a half to fit around, clean up, and head off. And hopefully I'll appreciate all you guys that have tuned in, joining me on this nice little 21-day lockdown journey. Guys, and if you haven't yet, I would appreciate it if you guys do subscribe, turn on the notifications, and if you did enjoy and you do enjoy the playlist going forward, a thumbs up would really be appreciative, because every little bit counts at the moment. So I appreciate it. Okay guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead, stand this all up. Thanks for the guys that commented last night about using linseed oil. That's quite a nice touch. I didn't know that. So yeah, I'm gonna sand this baby up, try and go scratch around in the grocery cupboard for a bit of linseed oil, and then hopefully we've got a nice little refurbished pellet gun at the end of all of this. But from myself, have a good day, and we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Cheers.